It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Yes, welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast. Another weekend is dropped, breaking down for you the Australian property market, all of the crazy stuff which is continuing around the world. Got another busy Saturday property morning show coming up. Yes, Saturday, July the 11th today. And Mario Volpe and Dana Lewis, they are going to be joining me with their thoughts on the Dubai property market. Many Aussie investors are in the UAE real estate portfolio property market. Is that you, or are you thinking of investing in the Dubai property market? A lot of talk at the moment in terms of just where is the price point for Dubai. Lots of people looking for big deals. We'll discuss that in just a moment, because for years, Dubai has been a seller's market. Increasingly, reports are showing that buyers are gaining negotiation leverage, particularly in apartments and certain resale segments. The market may not be crashing, but it certainly appears to be becoming far more selective. So has Dubai moved from a market driven by fear of missing out to a market driven by fear of overpaying?
Well, obviously a year ago, buyers were worried about missing out, as you say. Today, they're more concerned about actually overpaying. That's a big change. But in my view, it's definitely healthy. I mean, the market definitely needed that. Now, what we're seeing is buyers becoming much more selective. They're asking tougher questions, and they're definitely negotiating with much more confidence. Sellers are also having to be much more realistic about pricing. The ones that are, they will secure these deals. Those that are reluctant are definitely being left behind. So the demand from buyers is definitely still there, but today's market is increasingly being driven by value rather than that urgency.
I certainly hope that buyers are asking more questions. And the number one should be, how the heck am I going to pay for this? Because they've been entering into off plans, some of them, believing that, it's just a no-brainer. You buy an off plan and you flip it at 70 or 100%. And, I had a buyer this week saying, well, I'm at 40% and I can't pay the rest of it. And the conversation was, well, how did you ever enter into that off plan in the first place? And he said that he was told by an agent that he could sell it after 40% and make money. Now, even before the war, there's no way that's a formula for success, selling at 40%. No, we used to say, you have to go to at least 70% on an off-plan completion, or you go to 100% and then you look to exit, and maybe you'll exit with profit or not. But it also brings me to believe that regulation of agents that are offering investment advice in Dubai and Abu Dhabi actually need more regulation. Because it's one thing to tell somebody that's a good building in a good area. It's quite another one to be selling off plans or secondary and promising people grand profits at the end of the road. You're not allowed to do it in stocks, in equities, in commodities. And why are agents allowed to do that here? I don't think they actually are allowed, but they do it anyway. They promise people big profits. And it's anything, buyer beware, right? So buyers need to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. And if we talk about the number of off-plan buyers looking to exit before future instalments become due, most developers understandably focus on sales, momentum and confidence. If uncertainty, though, lasts another 12 months, do off-plan investors become the market's biggest pressure point? Let me come to you, Mario. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And I agree with Dana what he was saying there. I mean, I hear it all the time, not necessarily in my own office, but definitely stories from other buyers saying that they've been advised by this agent and that agent. So more regulation does need to come into that. 100% you will see the majority of the distressed sales will actually be from the what I call off-plan secondary. It's a secondary market sale because already it's been sold to one person, and that person then wants ones to, get out purely and simply because they haven't either factored in, as Dana says, or they've run out of money, or it's just not sexy anymore. So, those type of deals are more prevalent. And I think that is where most of the buyers actually will find their, and I'll use inverted commas, distressed sales, because that is where most of the sellers, for want of a better word, are actually underwater or will be, because prices have softened.
Yeah, and has Dubai's biggest selling point been challenged now? Because for years, Dubai marketed itself as the region's safe haven. The Iran conflict created the first serious challenge to that narrative in years. Yet global surveys still rank the UAE among the most attractive destinations for investing. Has the safe haven story been damaged, do you think, Mario, or has the UAE actually strengthened its reputation, oddly enough, through the crisis?
Yeah, kind of in a weird way, I would argue that it has actually been strengthened. A safe haven isn't somewhere that's unaffected by world events. It's somewhere that remains stable and resilient despite them. Now, obviously, the geopolitical situation we found ourselves in has demonstrated exactly that. As you know, business continued, confidence remained broadly intact, and Dubai carried on attracting investors, residents, and companies. But for many international investors, I think this period reinforced their reason why they chose Dubai in the first place. And hopefully the new buyers will actually see how resilient Dubai is and will jump on board sooner or later.
Let's go to Dana. What are your thoughts around that?
I think picking up on what Mario said, why did they come here in the first place? It's fundamentals, right? There's fundamental demand for Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and it remains here. And the fundamentals haven't gone away. People come here for banking, the legal system, security in terms of, street security. You can leave your phone on the table and walk away. And, we've heard that 1,000 times, right? It's safe. But it's taxes. In a huge way, it's taxes. You don't pay income tax. You don't pay capital gain tax. Businesses locate here because it's easy to do business. They feel protected in the legal framework, and they can bank a lot more money at the end of the business day. And so those fundamentals and the visa, easy visa application that you can buy anything and essentially get a 2-year visa, or you can commit to paying 2 million and your dirhams, and you're getting a 10-year visa for you and your family. So that's a huge bridge between Asia and Africa. And Dubai and Abu Dhabi remain exactly that. So that's not gone away. And I think that those fundamentals will attract people back here. But there is going to be, some risk aversion until we know long term that the situation with Iran has gone away, if it goes away.
And let me ask you this one, Dana, the psychological market versus the actual market, because search activity, it remains high. Mega projects are still being announced, as we've discussed. Luxury deals continue, yet many investors remain nervous. The market appears to be operating in two different emotional states simultaneously. And I would put it to you, is the biggest battle in the UAE property market right now happening in investors' minds rather than in the transactional data?
I hate to steal from you, and I'm going to use this term that you just put on today, which is two emotional states, because I love it. There really are two emotional states. There are people who've been here for a long period of time and say, hey, I know Dubai, and it's going to rebound. And that was a seller telling me yesterday that we gave him a sub-OP offer on his property, and he said, no, I'm not going to take it, and I don't want to de-risk, and I know that it will come back, and it will steam back. So that's one side of just investor confidence who believe that, Dubai will always do well and it will always rebound. And then there are others who feel that this conflict, you cannot compare it to the oil crisis, to the COVID crisis. It was unprecedented in its nature, and that will take a long time for those clouds to clear. So two emotional states, and you see investors and sellers kind of tracking one or the other, and that's what we navigate all week long in talking to clients.
All right, then, let's come to you, Mario. You can feel free to plagiarize anything that I say today.
Well, I think Dana's right. You're both right. It is very much an emotional time. And we do have two camps here. You've got the ones who think that the house is falling down, the buyers, and they're using that leverage to literally hammer home their offers. And sometimes these offers are ridiculous. And then you've got the sellers who, just like Dana says, have absolute confidence in Dubai, which will definitely bounce back. But I would say that somewhere in between, you do have people selling properties for the right reasons. What are those reasons? The real motivation. They need the money to either make another investment, they need the money to pay for school fees or a university or a wedding or whatever it might be. There is an end game there. A lot of the sellers, I believe, are putting things on the market because in the past properties had been going up and up and up, and it's natural to make money that way, and perhaps hence why some agents have been saying, buy this and then you can flip it. So in the middle, you have the right reasons, and I think that's where deals are being done. At the other end of the spectrum, both from the buyer and the seller's perspective, I think we're at an impasse, and something's got to give. And the only thing that gives, it will be the time, and then during that period, we'll see where this goes, and hopefully we will have lasting peace, and then ultimately Dubai will definitely bounce back.
Yeah, some good comments. And I want to throw this one at you, Mario, because one of the more interesting contradictions in the Dubai real estate right now is that we're seeing thousands of industry licenses expiring at the same time new people continue to enter the sector. It almost feels like the market is reshaping itself in real time. What does that, do you think, tell us about the direction of the brokerage industry and where it is heading?
Well, despite what Dana was saying, I think that we are seeing a market that's perhaps becoming more professional. The fact that over 1,600 new brokers have entered the industry, despite the current challenges, shows that people still believe in the long-term prospects of Dubai real estate. Now, if confidence in the market was disappearing, we simply wouldn't see that level of new brokers, whether experienced or new to industry, enter the sector. But at the same time, the large number of licenses that have expired tells us that the market is becoming more selective as well. During the boom years, almost everyone you could speak to would be a real estate agent. Today's environment requires these agents to be more knowledgeable, more disciplined, and more focused. I know some of them are not, but they want to build on long-term client relationships. That's the key, and to be consultants rather than salespeople.
Yeah, and as competition intensifies in the industry, do you think that we're seeing a shift away from the traditional high-volume sales approach towards something more specialised and relationship-driven? Because I certainly hope that that is where it's heading to.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I always say to all my agents when they want to sort of come into the industry that they have to pick an area, work that area, and really become the specialist, because then people see value in that person. Look, people have opinions, and sometimes those opinions can be wrong. But I always also ask all of my agents to be knowledgeable, to read up, to listen to things like the Dubai Property Podcast or read other publications, etc., to be up to date. Because in reality, nobody really knows what is happening in the market. We all have opinions, and from that point of view, it's a bit of a suck it and see, and then it pans out and it goes one way or the other. So for me, it's knowledge and definitely being that consultant, that advisor, rather than the pushy salesman, which unfortunately I know we have a bit of a reputation for.
And Dana, I'm going to leave the final thought with you, because I suggest any of these new agents that are coming in, I mean, all credit to them, because they're coming in uncertain times, but they've decided to be brave. Often, he who decides to go for it is the victor.
Yeah, we wish them well. But I'll tell you what, it's actually, we are talking about agents all the time. It's agencies which sign up to developers, and then they push that development stock. And they tell their agents to go and sell it hard. So the agents work for agencies. And that's probably where the overindulgence of agencies have started, with telling their brokers, like soldiers, sending them out to sell a particular product. But I'm personally campaigning for a gold standard, another level of broker, which would be that consultant and would actually have to pass certain exams and tests, I believe, before they give financial advice to buyers.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.